Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
How is everybody?
How is everybody? You know what this is? This is a Sheila.
And a Walt.
And welcome to Healthy Recipes Served Up on La Liga. You might notice I'm a little shorter than usual.
But you're back in the picture. If you
I
recall,
am.
last month we were in a different location in our daughter Cynthia's kitchen, and Cynthia
Which
and I
was
did
super
this.
cool and super fun. And I was there.
Yes, you were in the background. Directing.
I commenting. People
it was
would
very
ask
good.
things, I would answer, but I was actually taking care of our new kitty cat and our new puppy dog in a wheelchair. So some of you noticed that. And although I'm still not out of the wheelchair, I am sitting in front of the camera
And
today.
the big news is Thursday of this week you may actually be standing up for the first time in 6 weeks.
Yes, so we're thrilled to be here.
We are.
Thrilled to be here a week before Thanksgiving. How cool is this?
The other big change from a month ago is it's very dark outside.
I know.
A month
it's that
ago,
time of year.
right?
We had that time change, didn't we?
Daylight savings time
Yeah.
has gone away.
It came again, didn't it? So yes, it's dark outside, and I'm getting super psyched that my family is going to be gathered, my nuclear family. So we're going to have all kids in the house
Very
for Thanksgiving.
excited, yes.
And I tend to think of Thanksgiving as the funnest holiday because you don't have all the expectations and, there are plenty of expectations, I guess, around Thanksgiving, but it's really more about gathering, I think, at least in our family.
And giving thanks.
And giving thanks and gratitude, which is really important.
Right. Which, it's sort of that interesting thing, how giving gratitude and giving thanks makes you feel better.
It does,
And
literally.
receiving things sort of doesn't. And so the negative of Christmas of receiving the gifts
this is an interesting
compared
idea.
to the Thanksgiving of feeling gratitude and feeling grateful and feeling blessed. Yeah.
Really blessed. And we're blessed this year since I'm not completely up and running, that a friend of ours invited us to come to their house for Thanksgiving. So we're going to be sharing in their Thanksgiving. And I personally think we were talking the other day, Mariah and I, who helps us with Live Liga, and we were talking about how do we say it? Friends Thanksgiving? Friendsgiving. Thank you. And I was saying, well, actually, the first Thanksgiving is a Friendsgiving. And I think in this day and age, we think of it as being our peers, folks that are single, that gather as friends and share in the feast. But really, when you think about it, originally it was all about friends, and not even necessarily close friends, but people who wanted to gather and share together. And growing up, for me, Thanksgiving we always had people who really might not have had another place to go, or certainly were available to come to our house. Because they might have been far away from their family or in some transitional mode in their lives, college or something. And it made it more fun. It really did.
Right.
So I think the Friendsgiving is actually a wonderful thing for all of us to keep in mind, no matter what age we are.
Yes.
And it makes it fun. And today, when we think about the big feast and whatever, this time of year, not every meal has to be a heavy, laden, calorie-filled, zombie-making meal, right?
Right.
So, but we have a lot of wonderful seasonal vegetables and things around as we're making those feasts, and that we might have extra left over, and what the heck are we going to do about that? So, and we also want things that are sort of filled with antioxidants, filled with vitamins, filled with things that kind of boost our immune system.
Right, make us feel better as flu seasons and cold seasons and all those things.
We have a daughter who's bit the dust. Cynthia's got her first cold of the season. So we're very aware of the fact that we need to make sure that we have fresh foods around and that they're filled with all sorts of good nutrients and vitamins.
And a great tie-in for that in terms of how we're dealing with some of the root vegetables is because we're doing 3 really wonderful recipes.
Oh, should we talk about the recipes?
Well, I was really going to talk about...
Well, let's talk about the recipes first, if you don't mind, and then we'll go right into what you want to talk about, which is a very important thing.
Yeah, well, it is.
Yes,
it's all about
it is.
Being healthy.
So we're actually going to go over 3 different versions of a root salad because we thought this would be super fun. And we're doing root salads because one of the things that's cool about root salads is obviously they're plentiful this time of year. And what are roots?
So roots, things like carrots or parsnips.
Parsnips.
Or turnips.
Turnip.
all those things. Beets.
Beets.
Celeric. Well, yeah.
Fennel. Yeah.
I don't think it's a root vegetable. But
Is it not a root vegetable?
No, but
okay, he got it and cheated because celeric is a root vegetable, and we had that in one of our recipes. And guess what? We couldn't find it. So he was creative, and he went and he decided that fennel could be a close substitute.
Right.
And I thought,
similar,
well,
very
actually,
different, but it is similar.
Actually, fennel roasted is really delicious.
Oh yeah.
So, but back to root vegetables. So we have sweet potato, right? We have potatoes, onions. So there's so many things that we don't really think of as root vegetables per se, but you put them all together and you make one heck of a delicious roasted root salad.
And the other thing, right, and Sheila will frequently talk about with root vegetables, if you cut them small, they're tastier, they're sweeter.
Yeah,
they're
we're going to
really
go
good.
over all that once we go into the prep.
Okay, well,
Is that okay?
Okay, I will just hold.
You're
my
just
tongue.
wanting. You're just wanting to get in there, aren't you? Get going.
No,
Do it.
Well, because I just wanted to say that you think about root. When I was growing up, root vegetables. I can't even talk.
He's
Root
so excited about
vegetables.
them. It's
were
like
always, sort of, you would have a roast, and you would have the vegetables.
exactly like the pot roast.
Exactly.
Or,
All these wonderful, rich, but kind of heavy, rich, deep
pretty
flavors.
rich.
And what you've done is make 3 salads, which are hearty salads, but they're really good. And again, somehow this is much lighter and really flavorful.
Exactly.
And again, sort of sweet because of the roasting and the small size.
Exactly. And one of the things, and why we wanted to offer up 3 different ones.
Why are we doing 3?
Well, why? Well, because we're all about plenty.
Yes. And 3 is a good.
3 is
is
good.
always a good number.
But they're all very different, and so it's fun to show how easy it is to make these salads and make them different. The elements of each of them can be made ahead of time,
Right.
so you can have them in your freezer, or not freezer, what I
In your
meant to say,
pantry.
refrigerator, and your pantry, in the
Right.
pantry. But then, if you wanted to make some of the elements ahead of time, like
right.
roast the vegetables ahead of time, or make the lentils or the quinoa ahead of time, when you have the minute to do it, because this time of year sometimes with all, if you've got kids in the home, there are lots of kids activities, extra activities related to the holidays and Thanksgiving, and wanting to get out there and do those fun things like the Thanksgiving parade or going caroling or whatever suits your fancy and get you out there and having fun. We need to kind of think ahead in terms of prepping the food so we still can eat healthy in the midst of all the fun,
Right.
and also the special meals. So these 3 are 3 recipes I actually developed when for a wonderful store in Sudbury, Massachusetts, that invited us to do a class that was a healthy lifestyle class. And because they just put in a kitchen, right?
Right, and they were healthy recipes served up on Live Liga.
Think of that.
Right.
And the store is, carried Live Liga, and so we wanted to show how it worked. And they had this brand new kitchen that was just state of the art, beautiful kitchen. And so they had cooking classes, and they had chefs, local chefs, and chefs from around. And so, although we would not necessarily term ourselves chefs, we are cooks, and we are cooks who love to share, which is why we do this Facebook Live. And so these were the 3 recipes, and now I know you're dying to know what these are.
I am.
I know you are. And so warm quinoa salad with roasted almond vegetables and gingered vinaigrettes. So we've already kind of prepped this ahead of time so that we'll assemble and show you when it's time. And we did red quinoa. Quinoa is one of those fun things where there are different colors, and so you can really make colorful salads or side dishes with them. Depending on how you want them to look, you can use the different colors.
Well, and when we thought we had plenty of quinoa here, and when we realized we didn't, and I went to the store, there was wonderful deep red quinoa,
Yes.
there was white quinoa,
Yes.
and there was something they called Fiesta, which was sort of had some black, had some red, had some white. It was really a
So
mixture.
fun. And so and this time
colors.
of year, having something colorful with the red in it, of course, makes us think it's more holiday-ish. We're also going to do lentil salad with roasted root vegetables, and I forgot to mention that the quinoa salad's going to have a gingered vinaigrette. These are all homemade, and again, the recipes These recipes are actually on our website, livelegahome.com.
And Sheila, in making the ginger vinaigrette, said, "This is so good. I made twice as much as the recipe called for because we just need to keep this in the fridge as a wonderful
I know.
bread."
I love homemade salad dressings, and it's one of those things that, number one, it's so economical to do it. It's much better than buying. But I just don't like the taste of the store-bought ones. They always have like things in it to preserve it, and even if they don't, somehow the combination of whatever they put in it, the emulsifiers or whatever, just doesn't please my palate.
Right.
So having fresh salad dressings you can choose from. So the quinoa salad is going to have a gingered vinaigrette, and then the lentil salad is going to have, and these all have slightly different roasted root vegetables in them, because again, there is this nuance to root vegetables, and when you put different ones together, it creates a different flavor. I mean, there really is, kind of a connoisseur approach to root vegetables. At least for me, I'm having a lot of fun with
Sheila,
this.
Connoisseur of root
So we have a harvest
combinations.
vinaigrette, and then we are having a little bit of a vinaigrette with Weiss wine vinegar in the salad that we're actually going to do from soup to nuts, as it were.
And what's it served with?
The root vegetable salad with fried egg on top. So this is one of those that is just so easy to make. It's one of our family's favorites because it has a touch of bacon in it. So it really is delicious. And again, if you don't want the bacon in there, you don't have to have the bacon in there. And if you want to substitute the egg for some other thing like edamame or like tofu, you could do that.
Yeah.
So,
although I will say, fried egg on a salad so reminds us of one of our favorite restaurants in Kansas City and a wonderful chef who would do just incredible, wonderful, rich, hearty salads with a fried egg. It was such a great combination. I mean, I had never thought of putting a fried egg on a salad before that.
Exactly. And poached eggs are big on things. And but to make it easy, you just do a sunny side up fried egg, and it's delicious, quick and easy, and certainly doable on a weeknight.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a weekend for these recipes. So we're gonna get going on these, but we are gonna serve them up. Actually, we're gonna use all of our plates and just about all of our serveware because we're going to be using our avec bowls to put the salads in, very handy, and using our live spoons to measure things up. And then I think we're going to do, which salad are we? We're going to do the vivente dish for the root vegetable salad with fried egg.
Yes.
And then I think the warm quinoa, is that going, that's the one with the red leaf lettuce, and so you're going to do that on Celebrate.
Yes.
So then Halsha gets the lentil salad with roasted root vegetables and the harvest vinaigrette.
Yes.
So basically, what we're going to talk about now, which is what Walter's been waiting for, is kind of how do we pick our root vegetables? How do we prep our root vegetables?
How do we store our root
and
vegetables?
how we store our root vegetables, because all those things actually make a difference in terms of the flavor of the root vegetables that you end up with for your meal.
Right.
So when we're at the grocery store, how do you pick your root vegetables?
Well, again, it depends. I mean, for carrots, I tend to get them in a bag.
Yep.
But for any of them, you want them to be as brightly colored as possible and as free from blemishes.
Yeah,
as
that's the deal, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really
and the firmness.
Yeah.
Sometimes have you ever felt carrots and how they're flimsy? So I think that's one of those things where even with carrots, you kind of have to pay attention because if they've been around a while, they're going to be old and tired, and they're just not going to taste as well. Is somebody on that we need to say hi?
Okay,
Hi, Carrie. So nice to have you watching. I hope you got your feet up and you're enjoying things. Oh, and Dawn, hi. Boy, you've been working hard. I hope you have a glass of wine with you with all your hard work and enjoying a minute of peace and maybe a laugh or two watching us do this. So it's so nice to have you all on board. So again, blemishes, having them a firm feel, and
all
even
root vegetables,
they do smell like carrots. Really smell.
And all these are vegetables that, although
Good.
you harvest the end of the summer, were things that really could be held easily
all
in
these
just
things.
a cool, dark place. So I mean, we keep things in a
Okay,
basket.
so first
in
we're
our
choosing,
pantry.
and so
Yes.
we've kind of talked about that, and they do keep for a while if you keep them in the right temperature. And so all root vegetables actually don't necessarily have to be in the refrigerator. They can just be in a cool but more dry than damp place. Damp obviously is going to cause, kind of trigger them to grow things that you don't want them to grow, including just grow again with roots and things. But we tend to do our onions and our potatoes and sweet potatoes. Those things we put in a basket in our pantry. Those never get refrigerated. Depending on how quickly we're using our other root vegetables, they could be, in a bowl on our countertop, or more likely, because I tend to go shopping once a week on a Sunday, and if it's going to be the next Sunday that we're fixing something, or next Saturday, I'll tend to put them in the crisper drawer in the refrigerator. So
And hard squashes are the other things that, although
Yes,
they're not
that's a
root
good point.
vegetables, we sort of think of them in the same sort of
And
way.
they're certainly this time of year, which is why we incorporate them. So we are using an acorn squash, for instance, in one
And
of
we
the.
did a butternut squash the other day, and all these things, right?
And someone was mentioning, where on our website do you find these recipes? And you actually have to go into the Liga lifestyle area, and then with the drop down, you'll see recipes listed. So just make sure, don't think that it's going to be a tab that's visible immediately. You got to go into that Liga lifestyle area and find it. And all three of the recipes are listed under kind of seasonal recipes. There are also some other recipes you might want to check out. That are also on our recipe area on the website.
And for this recipe, the first thing is to cut into
This is the wrong one.
No wonder.
Sorry.
Into cubed pieces, I think is what it says.
Yeah.
Washed and diced. Carrots, parsnips, a red onion, thin slices. Sheila's actually making all the diced
I am.
carrot and maybe parsnip pieces. I'm using a mandolin for the red onion because it's so fast and easy. And if you guys weren't watching, I would go all the way to the end. But I'm sort
We
of
don't want to
not
lose his
today
fingers.
because I can see myself not paying attention
Oops.
and
And
cutting
there you go.
myself seriously. So that's
And it is
why.
so rapid and so easy to do. But we do sort of put him in charge of the mandolin because I get busy talking and I forget myself. Also, you notice I'm doing these in pretty small little chunks, and that's because I think that root vegetables taste a lot better if they're not in some big old chunk, that you can really enjoy the kind of nuanced flavor of each of them.
One of the other recipes calls for half-inch cubes. This calls diced, which to me is a little smaller, like either 3/8 or quarter-inch sort of
Exactly.
size-wise.
And then the other thing we want to talk about is the big debate of to peel or not to peel.
That's exactly where I was going.
I was hoping you were getting
So
there.
when we talked before about flu and colds and really being healthy, one of the things about any vegetable, but root vegetables particularly, it's something like 80% of the nutrients are in the skin area. And so when we peel them, the question is, why are you doing that today? If we wash them well, if we scrub them, then to include the skin on, it really makes it that
So
much
you
healthier
notice that
for
we
us.
have not peeled these, and we're
I
not
did.
going to peel the parsnips. And one of the things is sometimes if there are blemishes, or what you found, there's some blemishes, or it's organic. Some organic things can have more blemishes, and they're still wonderful vegetables. But if that's the case, then you just kind of carve that out or peel that off and then cut it. But root vegetables are so wonderful for us for a couple of reasons. One is that they are actually in the earth, and so the nutrients of the dirt around them are absorbed by the roots, and so that's one of the reasons why they're so healthy and why for our immune systems this time of year root vegetables are so fantastic. But the roots themselves, think about how a plant grows, and the roots are again where all the nutrition is, all the nutrients are for the plant. So you've got a double whammy of goodness, and that's why also taking advantage of that by not peeling but just washing really helps you take advantage of why roots are so wonderful. And So that it can be philosophical. A lot of us were brought up. Well, of course, we were brought up having vegetables cooked to death too. So see, notice how he's taking care of his wife because she's talking, so she's so slow and getting this done. So he's just gonna whip up the parsnips for us.
We'll see.
Thank you.
That's the plan.
I'm also willing to share and take some back, but that's something to pay attention to with root vegetables. And when we were growing up and we were eating root vegetables, we cooked them to death, and so a lot of us have these memories of root vegetables where we don't like them because they were so cooked to death that we think of them as mush and tasteless and kind of slimy and messy, and you can tell I have this memory. So that's why, to me, when I discovered and started playing around with these root vegetables, they become like my favorite thing because they're so delicious.
The other thing is the technique in cutting them. So whether you're julienning something, whether you're cubing it, dicing it, or a small dice.
Yeah.
My trick is always to cut it in half first, and then you have a flat surface.
That's a really important thing.
And then you want to cut parallel lines, whether it's julienning or whatever, so that you really are consistent.
So for stability, it's so important when you're cutting these things to create stability, and by cutting it in half, you're then able with a pretty big sharp knife to cut them stable. I'm not a chef. I've never been trained. These are sort of practical tips to keep you safe in the kitchen, enjoying being together in the kitchen and cooking. So
but it really does make a difference.
It does make a difference, and it also, it kind of, you can pay attention, but you're also able to keep it safe.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, when we talk about these, when we talk about getting prepared in the kitchen and the tools that we need, we've talked before, a good knife is a really important part of this. Obviously, a good cutting board.
And a chef's knife, particularly.
And a chef's knife is really important, particularly when we're talking about cutting root vegetables. They're dense, right? And so you need a good knife to be able to get through them without too much work, because sometimes when we're working too hard to get sliced through something, we're not as stable, right? So you want a good knife to be able to cut these things up, or certainly sharpen the knife you have, so that
which I did before we started.
Isn't he wonderful? So. So that's really important. Also, some of the ingredients, like we talk about olive oil, that's kind of one of those treats in life. And now it's so easy, even at the regular grocery store, to find really great olive oils. We have something we refill all the time because we like the size of it, how it fits in our cabinet. So this is deceiving, the bottle, because we have a different olive oil actually in there. But it's according to your taste, what you like about olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil, obviously, we love a lot of but it can go from very nutty to a very well, I'm thinking of some of the olive oils where you can put it in anything because the flavor is so neutral.
Yeah.
So again, it has to do with your taste buds and what you like. But also, the quality does make a difference in terms of the overall flavor. Also, keeping it away from the stove, because the thing about it is olive oil will turn, and so if we keep a smaller bottle that we use, every day for cooking. Buy it where we drizzle instead of pouring olive oil. But otherwise, the olive oil is stored down below so that it's
in
not
a cool,
mixed.
dry place.
Right. So that it stays longer, it doesn't turn on you. Kosher salt, I'm a big advocate of kosher salt. And herbs, it depends on how often we tend to use herbs a lot, and certain herbs are used all the time, so we go through it a lot and buy it. But if you don't, sometimes you need to break down and buy new herbs just so that the quality of the herbs in your cooking remains high, because that really is how you enhance the flavor of a lot of the foods that we eat to enjoy them.
And one of the things in buying herbs, you look at the little herb jars and think, oh, the cost per ounce is more expensive on those. I should buy the larger ones. But in fact, if you buy the small ones and then you go through them, they're fresher and they're better. Exactly. And so, that cost may actually end up being cheaper in the long run.
Right. So, and then there are different vinegars that we use. I used a sherry vinegar. I think is it in the ginger one? I have to always remember what I created. So yeah, it was in the ginger vinaigrette. I have a sherry. In the harvest, I have apple cider vinegar. And then for the one we're doing tonight here, which is probably the mildest of the vinegars, I've used a rice wine vinegar.
Which
so again, there's so many things, so many different ways you can make things different. So my point is that kind of root vegetables are the base, but we're actually using different root vegetables. Some are the same, but they're always different in terms of how other things are added to it. And then the dressings are also slightly different because of the different vinegars that we're using, as well as herbs, and we use mustard in one. Thank you. He's keeping me busy. That's just something to remember in terms of what you have on hand. It can always work, and you can always make a delicious dressing and a delicious salad and do it ahead of time. So we're almost ready to get this roasted, and we're going to put it all in one bowl, right? I'm not sure why you did it in two, just because you were slicing into that.
Exactly.
So, and that's one of my tricks too, is in a way this is, we try and limit the number of messes we make so we don't have so much to clean up. So to me, using a bowl to prep your vegetables, and then using that same bowl to create the salad when you're mixing all the ingredients together, there's no reason not to, because it's not like a raw meat or something where you need to use a fresh or different bowl. So that's kind of one of those recommendations I make in terms of trying to keep it as simple as possible and use fewer items so that you can get this whipped up and not spend all your time cleaning up. So that's one of the thoughts that I wanted to share. Let's see, is there something else? I think we kind of talked about it.
I am half a second away on these.
So we're going to put this in for 20 minutes. Oh, and the bacon. Walter's already cut up the bacon we have. So we've got the carrot. Let's see. We've got carrots. We've got parsnips. 4 carrots, 4 parsnips. I love parsnips. They have a wonderful sweet flavor to them that's different, obviously, than carrots, but they're kind of the carrot family. And the red onion, we're going to have 1 clove of garlic that's finely chopped, so you got to get that done too. And just put it in with this and with the onion. And then we're going to put an 1/8 of a cup or 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the mix. And we're also going to add black pepper and a teaspoon of herb de Provence and a pinch of kosher salt into it. And then we're going to roast it for about 20 minutes. While that's happening, we've cut up 4 pieces of bacon. And this recipe is for 4. So basically you're getting a piece of bacon that's been chopped up, and we're going to fry it up, crisp it up in the cast iron skillet. And so it just adds a wonderful flavor into the mix of the roasted vegetables. And so we're going to get that going at the same time. And then once we've done that, we're going to use this bowl and make our dressing in the bottom of the bowl. Because again, why use another jar or something?
So
whip it up.
Aren't I adding olive oil to this?
Yes, you're doing 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're doing a pinch of kosher salt and a pinch of that, and a teaspoon of this.
Okay, which are herb de Provence. And if we were doing this on our own, rather than herb de Provence, we would probably use Gale salts.
Right. So Gale salt combines a little bit of salt. It's a wonderful sea salt with a special herb de Provence that she creates, and so you can buy it online. And it's really delicious. It's actually a fun gift, like a hostess gift or stocking gift. But it's something we use all the time. We're all addicted. My kids get it. Here we go. Every Christmas, because they all love it so much.
It's the best thing in the world.
You can't really hear Cynthia, but she said it's the best thing in the world. And so, but when you don't have Gale salts, you do a teaspoon of herb de Provence with a pinch of our kosher salt. And then you've got a delicious flavoring for your roasted root vegetables. So once we've done we're gonna get this in a second. We're gonna grill up the the bacon, and then we're gonna make the dressing. And then by the end of all that, we're gonna be able to assemble the roasted root vegetables with the salad dressing and the bacon. And then we're gonna turn around and fry the egg. And it's as simple as that. And the wonderful thing about roasted root vegetables is you can, they're pretty simple to roast. You know, I mean, you just put them in an oven at 400 and for 20 minutes, and they're done. And depending on the chunks that you make, I mean, if you're in a rush and you do bigger chunks, this depends on how cooked you want them. Ours will be quite done at 20 minutes.
I have one other comment, and that is our Avec serving bowl is a beautiful bowl. It's a wonderful bowl.
Oops,
it works so well for our lip spoons that hang on the side. But when you're cooking or when you're baking, as
it's also really wonderful.
Yes, as a mixing bowl, or in this instance, really the salad mixing bowl, it's just perfect.
We have friends that tell us that they make their pancakes or their waffles, you know, weekend waffles, in this and use the lip spoon to measure it out for the waffles, and that they love doing it every weekend. So very versatile. And we're very thankful because we didn't initially design it for that, but we designed it for the kitchen, so you can mix in it.
It's a great size bowl.
And if you're looking to declutter and distress and de-stress, the idea of simplifying and just having less tools but versatile tools, you know, we're finding out that we're pretty handy that way. So we're good for your emotional well-being as well.
And honestly,
and gifts for Christmas.
Yes.
Yes.
And with the oil that's on the vegetables, I don't need to spray, but it does call for lightly spraying with cooking spray.
It just kind of,
we use olive oil again.
Right. And
When I was in
it's just to make it easy for cleanup too.
when I was in Grand Junction, that was my bowl that I used.
You used it for everything when you were in your apartment in Grand Junction.
I didn't use any other mixing.
Yeah, see, isn't that cool? So it just makes it so easy. And also, if you're wanting even quicker cleanup, you could always line your roasting pan, or really this is a cookie sheet pan, with aluminum foil. It just kind of depends on how busy you are, or parchment, and have just a quicker cleanup with it. But it really is, it cleans up pretty easily just as is.
So this, you know, there are a fair amount of vegetables on here. It's a good inch thick. The oven's at 450. But isn't that great looking? So that's going in. I'm setting this for 25 minutes.
Yeah. And some other things to mention about root vegetables that are really pretty wonderful is that they're a very fibrous vegetable, and they're made up of slow burning carbs. So they actually make you feel full longer. They're longer lasting. And so for folks that are wanting to manage their weight, or folks that are wanting to lose weight, root vegetables are actually a great food item to include in your diet.
I'm getting ready to go ahead and crisp the bacon.
Yes, you are. And it's 4 pieces that he's done, and he's cut them up in, what would you say, inch?
Yeah,
or
half inch, I think is what it said.
Okay.
Like that's a strong half inch,
Yeah.
3/4 inch squares.
Right, and those will actually cook up pretty fast because of being already cut up, and so they're nice and crisp. And then when you meld them into the roasted root vegetables, they're really delicious. And the other thing is that these kinds of root vegetables are good for regulating your blood sugar and your digestive system. So they're really they're kind of magical. They're magical vegetables, all that they do for us, that I think have been given a bad rap over the years, really mainly because of the way we use them and prepare them. Doesn't mean they're not fabulous around a roast, but my goodness, they have a life well beyond that. And then, you know, because of the antioxidants and because of all the nutrients, they're also disease fighting and as well as immunity and energy boosting. So they're extremely versatile in cooking. So it's just kind of fun to brag on the root vegetable, you know. I like the underdog. What can I say? And
I'm
root
proud
vegetables.
of my root vegetables.
And I'm proud of my root vegetables. So anyway, we're gonna. The other thing I wanted to mention about root vegetables is that they're pretty forgiving in terms of kind of prepping ahead of time. So you can dice and get them all ready and kind of store them for a day without them really deteriorating or getting dried out. I mean, you have to cover them up, and if you, depending on kind of the situation in your refrigerator, you can also dampen a paper towel and put them on the root vegetables and cover them up, and they'll stay nice and moist, and they won't get dried out, depending on how long you're going to have them in your refrigerator. You can also hard cook them. They're ones that can come back to life. So if you don't have the 20 minutes, this is pretty fast, but again, depending on the number of people you're feeding and the time that you have when you're actually going to have to prepare the meal.
Now, when you
may
say
want to
hard cook, what does that mean?
So you could par roast them,
And
like
so you
for 10
partially-
minutes
right.
instead. You partly cook them.
Right.
You could also, do it in a skillet, or you
Right.
could just steam them in a
Right.
microwave.
And by doing that allows you for the final cooking to do it much more quickly. Because you're not having to fully cook
Yeah, I
them.
wouldn't. And you could even roast them and just store them separately, and then put it all together last minute, and then it makes it fresh and come back to life. So they're very forgiving, is my point, and you can, and for that you can then prep them however you need to ahead of time to then make it easy on yourself at the time you're actually having to serve up the meal. I'm just so sensitive to the fact that so many people are so busy, and the hardest thing to do is to come home from work or the busy day that you've had, and then turn around and fix a healthy meal. I mean, it's just hard for some people. And, we've sort of talked about that in terms of people cooking for families. That's hard because you got a number of people. But it's equally difficult for someone who's living on their own, because who wants to turn around and make a meal for one? Because usually all recipes, there are few recipes that are for one,
Designed
right?
for
And
individual,
so you're ending up making a recipe like you would, and who wants to do that and sit down by themselves and eat it? So the idea is how to make that work for you and still have a healthy meal, and have all these ingredients available, and so you can make those healthy meals without spending a lot of time doing it after you're tired, worked hard all day, and not really wanting to maybe face the kitchen on your own. So that's another thing to think about when we're prepping meals and we're gathering family this time of year and we've got our kids around. The wonderful thing is to include people in the prepping, just like we're doing here. The two of us are in the kitchen. We've got other folks sitting around the counter, and we
it
have you
smells
all
like bacon.
Oh my God, it smells so good.
Not only is it healthy, it smells really good.
Yeah. So I'm missing the glass of wine, I'm going to tell you, because part of the fun is, you have people helping prep the meal. We don't have to be alone in the kitchen. Some people don't have a choice because they may not be living with anyone else, but you can invite a neighbor over. You can, and those of us that do have roommates can really include them in the experience and offer up cooking together. I think we do too little of that now, and it's actually a wonderful communal thing to do. The gathering around food is innate with us. It's kind of like part of our being. We need to do this, and this time of year we're made more aware of that as we gather. And even in talking about things like trends, what's interesting is that a lot of people are going back to inviting people over and cooking and really having everybody kind of in the kitchen cooking together. We have a dear friend who lives in New York. Many of our friends, actually, this is what they do, where we come over and we help cook the meal. And it is truly fun and memorable, and it makes it so that we've all contributed, and somehow the food tastes better. Have you ever noticed that?
And I learn something every time.
I know.
Because everybody,
Because everybody has their own technique.
Things right.
And it's just more fun, and you also get a lot of other conversation in.
Yes.
It's not just about cooking. It's the way of bringing everybody together, but making the meal possible. Because we're all contributing. And of course, after the meal, there's some who also contribute to washing the dishes, which is very nice. This one is fantastic at washing the dishes. He always volunteers to wash the dishes, which is very nice, because I'm usually pooped out by the end of it, and so I tend to let other people do the dishes. I do know how, but
I always loved the Denise and Tom's.
Oh yeah, so we have so many friends. Well, obviously we surround ourselves with people who love doing this too, and so we have dear friends from Kansas City where their whole fun is designing a menu and then putting different people in charge of the different parts of the meal, Denise and Tom. And New Year's Eve was a very famous time where the guys would take over the kitchen and do the whole meal. And it really is, it's a way of bonding, it's a way of having camaraderie and sharing at the same time.
And lets you maybe do things that you wouldn't normally undertake because each person is individually doing something that maybe is a lot, but then when everyone does it, it really becomes pretty wonderful.
The only bad thing is when you have someone who sees a pot with something that looks a little weird and decides that maybe it needs to be cleaned up, and it turns out that it was something that had been created over how many? 4 days?
Well, they go, perhaps.
And so there are moments like that where communicating is really key, so you don't throw something out that was meant to be part of the meal.
And then there's a specific person that brings the wine.
Oh yeah. So speaking of wine, one of the fun things is you don't have to have many glasses of wine, and if you're not a drinker of wine, there's certainly other wonderful drinks to include, but to complete the meal, to have sparkling water or to enjoy a white wine with your root salad. It really can be something where you invite friends over. It's not just a homemade meal, it's a meal that you can share with others and enjoy that glass of wine in the kitchen and then sitting down to dinner. So in terms of white wine, I think a Sauvignon Blanc could be really nice with these root salads, something that has a little bit of personality in and of itself. Viognier is something Walter has loved, and it's a lovely wine that goes really well. I think with these have the root salads. It holds up. And roots are hearty, but they also have a little bit of sweet. So I'd say both the Sauvignon Blanc and the Viognier could be a very nice pairing with these meals. So what else do we have to talk about? The bacon's done. See how quick that is? That is really
perfect. So I'm putting it on a plate that I've lined with paper towels, as the recipe calls for.
right.
And I'm just going to let it sort of...
So we do want to get the grease out, and he's gonna pour the grease out and just save a teaspoon, so that then instead of adding a different oil, we'll just fry the eggs in a little tiny bit of teaspoon of oil, and he's not wiping out the pan of the bacon grease. What did I say?
Well,
Bacon grease.
But it's bacon grease.
The bacon grease is what I was trying to say. And so that adds kind of a fun flavor that kind of, again, completes the package of this root salad. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but a teaspoon of bacon grease really isn't any different than adding a different kind of oil. So, or it could be depending on your diet. So you do need to pay attention to that.
Flavorful.
It's very flavorful, I guess is the point.
Yeah, it will cause the eggs will stick more in here than they would otherwise.
You have to pay attention to your eggs.
So that's,
yeah, it's
that's
a good challenge for them, don't you think? As I sit here
I
in my
might have done
chair.
it differently, but yes.
I'm just sitting here in my chair,
so
pontificating.
the question is, we have 15 minutes for these to get done. It would seem
15?
we might.
Has it only been 5 minutes? Really?
No, it's 25. It's been 10.
Okay, we did for 20 minutes. So.
I set it for 25 because.
Okay, so I think 20 is fine now. I think we
Okay.
can do it because.
Okay.
So I think that's fine to do 20. Okay.
Okay.
And so I think we then just have 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we're gonna wait for those to do it, and so he's gonna do a little, song and dance.
Well, the question is, do we want to go ahead and play?
I think
for
we
the other
should
plates?
go ahead and plate. And I wanted to also say that to complete the meal, it can be as simple as either a muffin that you've had in the freezer that you've made ahead of time, and you can then serve it up, warm it up and serve it up.
And Sheila is so great. You have so many wonderful muffin recipes.
I know, and they're on the blog.
And if
So
you make 12,
can I say the address? It's blog.libligahome.com. But go ahead.
but if you make 12 or whatever a recipe calls for, but it typically is about 12. And for us, we may eat 4 of them for the 3 of us at a meal, something like that. The others we freeze, and then again you have these individual portions that are all ready.
And I tend to wrap them individually as well, so that they go in an overall container. But then I wrap them so they really do stay fresh for a period of time.
Yeah.
And then you can mix and match and pick what you want to bring out. Tonight we don't, because I've been a little incapacitated. We don't have muffins to share for dinner, so we found some wonderful frozen rolls that there's I think this is Rhodes, the French roll, that's 120 calories, and you heat it up, and it's just so yummy and fresh, and it smells like freshly baked bread. So it can also be something you to have in your freezer that you get out just as you need it to complete a meal, and then you have this wonderful dinner to serve up and share with family and friends. So we were going to go ahead and put we're going to do the lentil salad next. Okay.
And so go ahead and tell me what we're putting in. I'm sure it's the lentils.
We need the dressing in first.
Okay.
And
that's where you made a lot. So you're going to put half of that in.
So can I use this? Is that okay to use? It's just out of oil, right?
Yeah.
So 2 tablespoons is the typical serving size per person for a meal. So if you're serving up 4, you would do 4 of these. So we're going to do 1, 2, and that's probably it.
I think that's what you want to do.
That's what we're going to do. So I lied. We're just going to do that much because I think everything has so much flavor.
And that's what a serving size is. You typically do much less than that.
I do because I don't like it oily and whatever. But that is a typical. That is the standard serving size for your salad dressings.
So you got the dressing.
So you're going to put the lentils in, and then you're going to put the roasted root vegetables for it, and toss it up. And then it's as simple as that. And then we're going to put it on a wonderful bed of Bib lettuce. So again, just by also choosing different lettuces, you can make a salad look very different.
And again, we used just normal lentils, which are the green lentils.
There are different.
There were red lentils right next to the red quinoa today.
So also, if you're wanting to be festive, because of this time of year, you can certainly pick a more colorful lentil. But I also paid attention to the fact with this one. So in the lentil salad, just to show you the difference in terms of the root vegetables, we actually, which is not a root vegetable, I know, but we had an acorn squash. We did add a couple of carrots. And this is when we used the fennel instead of the celery root.
Right.
And then beets. And so the beets in and of themselves have that bright red color. So you could have a really red salad, but I kind of toned it down a little bit with the lentils.
And I love beets, and I love roasting beets.
He's so good at it,
But the first time I didn't do any of the prep work that I now do. I always put on disposable gloves before I start. If you use the deep red beets, they will stain everything, whether it's a cutting board
what is your trick?
Or your hands. Then I actually I may do 1 or 2 of the deep red, and the rest are golden or the candy cane.
Which are pretty easy to find.
Exactly.
And you certainly buy them when you see them.
Right, I do.
So that he can do, because just having roasted beets as a salad, we'll have a bowl of roasted beets that he's done with, and he adds a little balsamic vinegar.
And a little Gale salt.
Oh my God, they're so good. But, we digress. So in that, we also with this one, we've added prosciutto. So this has prosciutto and we just roasted them right in. We roasted the prosciutto right in with the vegetables, and then you have the lentils. So you have this wonderful salad. It's a hearty, delicious salad, and you put it on a bed of Bib lettuce, and you have something that's very filling, very complete, and very festive, actually. So that's what Walt's doing right now is stirring it up, and then
we're gonna stir it,
and it's sort of a heaping cup is what you put in the middle of the plate on top of the lettuce, and so it looks really pretty.
Okay,
and then you have a roll of that, and you have your meal, and a healthy glass of water, or a perhaps not as healthy glass of wine. So
for the lentil salad, we were going to
the lettuce.
Mm-hmm. I've got it.
It's right here. I know I feel a little helpless just being in a non-moving chair, but Walter's doing a fabulous job. So, and then we want to top it with maybe a little parsley and a little tangerine, just to kind of create that colorful final finished effect on the salad. So it looks really pretty, and you can see, you'll see it here, and also on those recipes that you can find on our website, livelygahome.com. we actually have a photo of when we made it, a photo of it to share with the recipe. So, and we also have the vinaigrettes as well included with the recipe. So you can also use these vinaigrettes for anything, and they're so easy. I guarantee you, I promise you, they're so easy to make. And for the lentil salad, literally it's apple cider vinegar, an eighth cup of that, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, a half teaspoon of kosher salt, and an eighth cup of olive oil. It's as simple as that, and you can make it, you can double it, triple it, and have it handy in your refrigerator for other salads that you want. Oh, look what he's doing. So pretty.
Just like
So
that.
you're gonna go share with them
Yes.
and show them how beautiful this
So
looks?
again, this is the
We're gonna fight over this tonight in terms of who gets to eat it.
lentil salad with roasted root vegetables and harvest vinaigrette.
It's so good. So this is one of the 3 salads
Yep.
we're showing you tonight. What's it served up on?
On halsa.
Can you lift it up a little more? It doesn't seem like, there you go.
Yeah, except I'm going to lose some.
Oh, yes, be careful.
Okay, so
Yes.
one is done.
One is done. Now the next one he's gonna do
I
while
think we're now
waiting
gonna-
for these to finish
Well,
up.
we're
Oh, are they
kinda
done?
there. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I can go ahead and do the eggs.
Well, I would go ahead and if you need to take that out, take it out, and then let's finish up the quinoa, and then we'll do the eggs at the
Perfect.
very end. 'Cause
Perfect.
I'm afraid that'll get cold
Okay.
if we,
Okay,
you know.
excellent.
So next we're gonna do the warm quinoa salad with roasted roasted autumn vegetables and gingered vinaigrette. And this one has, again, remember we had, acorn squash, we had beets, we had.
And we're going to do the dressing first, I bet.
Yes, you do. And you're gonna do, I think, the same thing where you're doing just 2 of these. And because that looked right, didn't it? It looked like enough when you did that with the other one in terms
So
of
is this your dressing?
It was next to the other one.
Yeah, but I only got one out first.
Oh, You can
Sorry.
also smell it because it's got ginger in it, so. I don't think that's it, Walt. Sorry, I think they were in the lower, it was on the bottom.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Gotta smell your dressing to make sure you pull
Okay,
the right one
check
out.
that's the right one.
Yes, this looks like the right, because it has scallions in it. Oh my god, and fresh ginger and soy in it.
Okay, so how much of that are you putting in?
Well, technically that's for 1 serving. We'll probably, why don't you serve out 2/8, and let's just see how much is left over and whether we think we need it. That's a fair amount of quinoa in there, so I think you're gonna need more on this one.
I'll do 3.
I would do 3.
Okay.
So again, you can tailor it to your own desires. But with so remember we had the beets and the acorn squash, and we had
So I'm gonna go
carrots.
ahead
You have to let me talk about this for a second, okay?
Yes.
Just so we can complete the thought. I'm just trying to show the difference in the
Okay.
roots. And then in the warm quinoa salad, we have sweet potato. We have Brussels sprouts. We have carrots again. Carrots I love because of I love the taste of them, but also the color. Parsnip and turnip. So they're very different. See how you have root vegetables, but they're all very different. And obviously then we also have the carb is very different in that we have, and quinoa, does have a little bit more protein. So for those who want to kind of focus on higher protein, it's a great salad for that. So we're going to put all the quinoa in there.
Okay.
And then we're going to put all the vegetables in there. And the thing that this one is completely vegetarian, I think. Let me double check. Yes. So that's the thing I also wanted to show is that you can make these salads completely vegetarian. You can add a little bit of bacon or prosciutto, something that's easy and on hand to add that flavor and make it easy, or just top it with an egg. They're so good, and they can be so flavorful in many different ways. So the warm quinoa salad with roasted almond I keep saying almond, autumn vegetables and ginger vinaigrette is completely vegetarian. So, but very hearty, and that's why we also have the quinoa, so that again, it's a complete meal.
It looks very different.
And doesn't it look very different? And so it's gonna be fun to share with you all once we stirred it all up. And then I think this one, We garnish with cilantro if we so choose. So again, the garnishes can be different, or you can just do a little parsley if you want. Or if you're in no fuss, no muss, you don't have to have a garnish. Garnishes are just really, they're optional. They're according to how fancy you want to make the meal and how you want it to look when you serve it up. So the thing I love about quinoa is it always kind of, when you cook it, it always has this kind of like a germinated look to it.
Yeah, the little curly,
yes,
the white curly.
I love the kind of white curly.
What do you think about using? Did it call for all of it?
Yes, it did.
The quinoa really absorbs it.
Okay, so
I
think you need to put all of it in there.
That's my take.
You were wanting to be conservative, so I was letting you figure that out, and that's sometimes you do it that way, just figure it out. But these are designed so that what the dressing is what you use for the actual serving up of the salad. So you don't have to use it all, but that it's designed that way. So even the calories, as they're figured out, are according to that.
Right.
So, but again, depends on you.
Okay.
So anyway, this is really pretty, and you're gonna do again another sort of heaping cup. It's going to go on. This time I think we're doing a red lettuce.
Celebrate.
We're going on Celebrate. Super fun.
And I'm using a red butter lettuce.
Yes, you are.
Baby red butter.
Baby red butter lettuce, and this way we're trying to show you how they can all look very different. So even if you wanted to eat a roasted root salad every day for I guess 3 days in a row, they would be very different, taste very different, and not something you would get bored with.
Right.
So the idea is if you're making it easy on yourself, and they'll keep. So if you're making one recipe's worth, and you and somebody else, or just you, are going to be eating it, it's something that will keep for a number of days. I'm not sure I would freeze any of these, but they'll certainly keep for a number of days in your refrigerator and still be tasty. And they can be served cold. They can be served. I personally like it at room temperature, so that's pretty easy to do.
This
But if you were in the
says
mood to
warm
heat it
quinoa,
up,
right.
you can heat it up and make it warm. Again, it's very. I do warm. I mean, this time of year, I tend to like things room temperature or warm. They just sort of, warm you up inside when it's cold outside. And some folks around the country right now are having really bad weather, so we hope you're safe inside and watching Facebook Live. So Walt's gonna put some cilantro. I would put some on top. He's doing kind of on the side. So again, there are no rules to this.
Here.
It's whatever you think looks pretty. Lovely. I think it's lovely. So, but I do. Isn't it so pretty? And you ought to show the comparison of the two. I mean, it could not be more different in terms of how they look. That means this is done. I can't walk over there.
I will do it.
I was about to walk over there, and I just realized I couldn't get up and go walk over there. So, ta-da! So here is the quinoa. So it's the warm quinoa salad with roasted autumn vegetables and ginger vinaigrette, which I'm telling you, the ginger vinaigrette you're going to want to make regularly.
See how different? Isn't that wonderful?
Isn't it wonderful? So, and the ginger vinaigrette is with scallions, sherry vinegar, fresh ginger, soy sauce, toasted sesame oil, and orange juice. So it could not be more different than the harvest vinaigrettes. So again, that makes it fun and makes it diverse, and depending on your mood, you've got something that you can pick. So now Walter's going to, in a little bit of the leftover bacon grease, he's going to fry up eggs. Are you going to just do one right now, or are you going to do?
Oh, shall I do that?
I don't know. I was thinking maybe yes.
Okay.
I would just do one.
Okay, perfect.
And that way we'll serve up one serving's worth. Or you could do two if you want to.
That's what I was going to do.
Okay, he's going to do two. So we can serve up and make up 2 plates, because we're going to eat dinner after this, because of course when we do this we always enjoy the fruits of our labor and enjoy the meal afterwards, so that we can have healthy meals served up on the liga. And so he's going to fry the egg. We're going to serve it up on vivente. This one's going to have some arugula on the bottom, and then the roasted vegetables are going to be really we
wondering.
don't. We just serve them up directly because I don't think we need to.
Well, we have all this that.
Oh, I'm sorry. What am I saying? We have to do the dressing.
Right.
So we have to make the dressing in the bottom of the bowl.
So
It's not pre-done. It's so simple that you just do it at the time.
So I think we should actually do that and then do the.
Yes, exactly.
So.
Yeah. Oh, smart man. He turned that off so it doesn't end up smoking. So now you're going to do 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar in the bottom of the bowl. And so you're also doing, let's see, isn't it an eighth or 2? So it's an eighth of the rice wine vinegar, and it's an eighth of the olive oil, right? Because you did 2 for the vegetables and the
Right,
roasting,
split,
and then
yes.
you're doing 2 now.
Okay, so here is 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar and our 1/8 cup.
And then 2 tablespoons of the olive oil. And then you're gonna add the arugula, the roasted vegetables, the bacon, the parsley, and the Parmesan. Because there is a little bit of Parmesan in here too.
Quarter
So
cup.
it's just a decadent salad, what can I say? But it's a decadent salad that's just 397 calories served up. So it's
So
because
that-
the
oh,
proportions
so
are,
sorry.
that you
And
just
then-
stepped on my broken toe, but oh.
And then the arugula next, you said.
Yes, arugula next. And then the roasted vegetables.
I'm not sure if this bowl's going to be big enough for everything, but maybe we can.
Oh no. That will probably mush down once you put the roasted vegetables
Okay.
in it.
And then.
So, and then the parsley gets put in there too.
Oh, did you chop the parsley?
I didn't. I am a delinquent. Let me chop the parsley really quickly. I think we just need about this much. It's a half cup chop. So I tend to take the stems out a little bit.
So again, this is much bigger, heavier on
And so this
red
one
onion,
had red onion in it. It had parsnip in it too, right?
carrots, parsnip, red onion.
And red onion, but it's the simplest of them. So those are that's it in terms of the roasted root vegetables and a little garlic. So so they're this one is one that is a family favorite because it is pretty gosh darn easy to make, and it's so tasty that that when people hear I'm making it, they go, "Oh, we get that salad tonight! Oh, Mom, it's so exciting!" So we're gonna let's see. So we have the arugula, the roasted vegetables. Do we have the bacon in yet?
No.
So bacon, and then we're parsley and the Parmesan, and then we're gonna be able to stir it all up. And oh, look at that bacon! So good. And it's just a piece of bacon a person. I mean, that's the thing that's so great about this is, again, the proportions, the flavor is mighty, but, you know, the amounts that you're using aren't horrible. So you end up with a very tasty salad, very flavorful, has a lot of dimension to it because of all the different flavors in it, and it's very hearty. So, but again, the biggest part that Walt put in there was the arugula, if you'll remember. So. And arugula has, you know, it's got a mighty flavor to it too.
Called
Yeah.
rocket.
That's I always love that name.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me help you.
Thank you.
But this is it's a beautiful salad too, and the arugula is always so sort of fairy-like to me. You know, it's feathery, and so
It's a fun shape. It really
is a fun shape, and so it's so pretty when you serve it up on a plate because. You know, it's a little magical looking. So we've got that, and then once we, I think, you turned off the oven, but we're going to turn it back on, and we're going to do those rolls. I talked to you about the French bread rolls. So when we serve it up for dinner, we're going to eat the salad with a roll, and maybe a little bit of butter, and have a lovely fall meal together the week before Thanksgiving. So.
I'm
How are
really
you doing on
close.
that? I can do
Almost
this
there.
while you're doing
Yeah.
that. I'm not completely helpless.
Okay, I will let you
Yes.
finish that.
This really is perfect, honey. I think you've already done it. But so while he's doing the egg, I wanted to mention that the last Facebook Live is next month of the year 2019, and it's going to be let me see, December 17th. So it's a little earlier because I think the fourth Tuesday is maybe like Christmas Eve or something. So we're having it on Tuesday the 17th, and we're going to be doing batter breads.
Oh, yum.
And I think batter breads are really fun breads. Again, they're not like breads that you have to rise. They're a quicker bread. They tend to be sweeter. You know, they tend to be those the kind of breads that like poppy seed bread. We're going to do a poppy seed pear bread because again, pears are such a wonderful thing this time of year. You know, they tend to start being abundant. Cynthia is going like this because she's really excited about the fact we're going to be making this. Also banana bread. I have a wonderful banana bread that I put fresh sage in. It's pretty gosh darn delicious. And I find these are all healthier versions perhaps of what we know as batter breads in terms of, you know, we kind of lighten up the sugar and put healthier ingredients in. Is it ready to be served up? I will do that.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have fun with batter breads, and they're great for gifts. They're great as hostess gifts if you're going to a holiday party to share. I even wrap them up and freeze them and send them to my kids who live far away so they can have a little bit of deliciousness where they live. So here we go. We're going to put about a cup and a half probably, since it also includes the lettuce. And then we're going to put the egg right in the middle of that. And this, you know, has crisped up prosciutto that we actually put just right in with the vegetables. So it crisped up while the root vegetables, and it also kind of added a little bit of flavor to those vegetables. So again, this looks very different than the other two root salads. I'm going to try and sit down without doing a crazy thing.
Good job.
So it's funny how some things it's just like I have to stand up to do them. So so we hope to see you next month as well when we'll do our last one of the year. We will be back in 2020. 2020 is such a wonderful reign. It's going to be a fabulous year for all of us, I think. And we're going to, you know, do more fun, healthy recipes served up on La Liga, and also maybe have some folks come join us next year, like Nikki Massey and hopefully Shelby Kennard, folks you know well because of their own expertise, and share up their recipes and kind of talk about all of our different cooking styles and kind of the fun adventures we've had as a result of our love of food and healthy living and sharing, because that's really what it's all about. That's kind of what's motivated us in this, is to share what we've learned, and plus that it helps us too to share and to enjoy, and we just so love when people come and join us and contribute in terms of what they know and the things that they do that help all of us cook healthier and add new ideas to the way we do things. So, are we ready?
We're about ready? 1 minute away.
We're almost 1 minute away. And our new puppy dog, you know, we mentioned that last time. So we've had a new puppy for about a month, and she has been completely quiet this whole time. Aren't you proud? What?
And we have a new kitty too.
Exactly, and we have a new kitty too, but the kitty is in another room, so he tends to be very quiet. And he also changed. He was a she until he became a he. So we've had quite an adventure in this household with all of our new pets who are already wonderful family members. So I'm really grateful this time around we've had a puppy dog in the house who's been completely quiet. So
and good,
and
not only quiet. Sometimes
I don't think
quiet.
the furniture's been chewed. We've been on Facebook Live. Oh my goodness.
You could have been able to hear them meowing though.
Yeah, perhaps we could have heard the meowing of the kitty cat. So, but he was quiet nonetheless, I think. So, all right, I think we're
ready.
We're ready to serve up, so that you can see this last salad. So you'll see our 3 root salads.
Let me actually.
How easy they were to do, because we assembled all 3 here. One we did from scratch, pretty easy to do. while we were talking and having fun with you. So clearly it's doable. And we hope these will be helpful to you as you're trying to figure out easy dinners in the holidays, and also just to keep you healthy. These can be eaten any time of year, and they're great.
And so there's our third. Look at that.
Doesn't it look yummy?
Yeah, with the
Aren't you
arugula
ready?
and
All these
with
smells
lentil.
have made me hungry for dinner. I'll
Yeah,
tell you that.
my stomach is growling. And the red quinoa.
So,
Great.
all right, we hope you've enjoyed it. We've so enjoyed being with you. Thank you for sharing some time with us as we've done healthy recipes served up on La Liga. And again, if you're looking for those recipes, I think we've shared the addresses with you on the thread, and also it's LaLigaHome.com. So we wish you the happiest of Thanksgiving wherever you are and whoever you get to celebrate it with, and cheers to you. See you next
Great.
month.
Thank you so much. Good to see
All
you
right,
guys.
talk to you later.
Bye-bye.